Amy Shark, it's always so good to chat.
So good to see you. Oh my God.
What an absolute dream. I think last time we caught up, it was in June last year. You just released Everybody Rise, and you've got a new baby out in the world, which we'll talk about in a sec. But I feel like you've just had the craziest life recently, like so much going on. Talk to me about what you've been up to.
I know, it's wild. I mean, in a time that I think, you're supposed to chill and reflect and just take it easy. I've moved cities and I've basically just thrown everything at this record that I could possibly throw at it. And yeah, I don't know. I've kind of I wasn't going to not be busy. So I just kind of gave myself a bunch of work to do, which feels good. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like the world is slowly coming back and my calendar is kind of starting to fill up again, which feels nice.
That must be a nice feeling. It must have been pretty weird going from being so busy and traveling all the time to, we are still busy, but I guess just like not the travel side of it so much.
Yeah, it was a shock, but then I think, there's so many amazing moments that happen for everybody. I mean, just to reconnect with things that you never had time for before. And I know for me, I got to really zone in on the record and on every song, and I did get to do that on the first one. And I don't know, just got to hang out with friends and just kind of work out who I was again.
It's always an important thing to do.
Yeah.
And Cry Forever, I'm honestly so excited for the album, your second album. It's going to be amazing. Is there a particular song that you're most excited for your fans to hear?
I love them all, but I guess there's one at the very end called Amy Shark, and I can't really explain it. It's one of those ones that you just have to listen. It's very full on, but I know by now, Cam, I'm I know who my fans are. So, with the first one, it's and the first EP and first album, you're still kind of still feeling each other out here. Who's going to be into this? Is there a market for it? Do people like this sort of songwriting? And now I'm oh no, I know what they like, and they're going to freaking love this.
So good. Bring it on. I'm so excited to hear it. But I also am loving the song that you have just released, Love Songs Ain't For Us, featuring Keith Urban. I'm not going to lie, the first time I listened to this song, I literally had a little cry.
It's got that feel to it, doesn't it? I don't know why. It's just apart from the register that I'm singing in and the song itself, there's something in that simple production that makes me feel things. I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad that you had that effect as well.
I totally understand what you mean. And I just feel like it's the stripped backness and I guess the rawness of the lyrics. It's just such an honest song. So yeah, I love it. Talk to me about how it came to life and the creative process, because I know you worked in terms of writing with Ed Sheeran on it. How did all of that kind of happen?
Well, it started, there was kind of a little Easter egg that I dropped on another friend of mine, and I sound like an idiot each time I say this, but so Russell Crowe was a bit of a fan of my first album. And I just remember I went to his farm once and I saw this big plaque and from Ed Sheeran that he'd sent to Russell because he did the Eminem song at Russell's farm. And I was oh, wow, he's such I think he's got one of the best songwriters of our time, right? And Russell's you should work with him. I'm yeah. And then that was it. I just laughed. And then Russell just sent him my album. And then Russell said that he'd done that and Ed loved it. And I think Ed's going to want to set up a songwriting session. And I kind of laughed again. I was yeah, okay. And definitely wasn't holding my breath. And then I got an email from Ed saying let's set up a songwriting session. I like your stuff. And next minute I was there in Suffolk with him at his studio. That's crafting so cool. A song together.
That's so wild. And I was interested to know the timeline of the song, because when you posted that you were releasing the song, it kind of felt to me like it had been some time between writing the song and actually releasing it. So when did the whole writing and everything
You're telling me, mate.
happen?
You're telling me. Oh my God. Yeah, I had to be very well behaved. I was quite disciplined, I didn't really talk to many people about it. I didn't really show many people for a long time those sort of photos. And yeah, so we wrote the song November 2019, and it was crazy. I was nervous, but I was also jet lagged. But it was one of those big opportunities, you know, when you're like, you can't mess this up, Amy. You need to be on. You need to like prove to this guy that you're meant to be in this room. And you know, so luckily enough, I don't know, I switched it on. It was just meant to be. And we kind of fell into this song really, really quickly and quite easily. And I mean, everyone knows Ed. He's just like the king of like wedding songs and love songs. And so he was quizzing me. He's like, do you write love songs about your man? Because he knows I'm kind of from a bit of an alternative background. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I do, Ed. But I mean, love's so messed up, isn't it? Like my story is wild. So I don't know, like love stories aren't really for us. And, but yeah, sure, we can give it a go. And I just remember him walking around the coffee table in the studio, and he just started singing love songs ain't for us. And I was like, well, that's amazing. Let's roll with that. And then we were like away, and it was the first time we were sort of sitting there and going sort of lyric for lyric, and he would say something and I'd be like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. He was always really respectful, and he was like, is that something you'd say? And is that what? And I'm like, yeah, it's gorgeous. Then I'd say something. He's like, yeah, I like that. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the best day of my life. And I just remember going back. He offered my partner and I to go back to his place for dinner that night, and he's built a pub on his property, so we're having a beer and like blasting the song. And he was like, this is a special one, Amy. And I was like, I know.
That's so cool. I also find it so crazy. Like, I feel like Australia is kind of like New Zealand. The industry is quite small. And I guess you just like make friends with random people. And like that story that you're telling me about Russell, it's just so wild that like this song has come out of just like this random situation where you were at one of your friends' houses and then you were at Ed Sheeran's house. Like, it's mental.
It's mental. But also, the hustle is real.
The hustle is real. Amy Shark knows how to hustle. So good. It must have been so hard though. Like, I feel like you're a good secret keeper. Like, I could never keep a secret. I'd have a couple of wines and be like, oh my God, I did this really cool thing with Ed Sheeran. You guys have to hear it. But
yeah.
How difficult is it to keep those things kind of a secret?
I've gotten pretty good at it, but it's just, I guess I knew I could sort of visualize what it was going to be and what it was going to sound like. And I'm like, I don't want to be one of those artists. And I could have done it the second I started the album. I could have started, you know, posting shit about me being in the studio. And it's like, I already know that my fans are going to have to wait a minute because I'm going to spend some time on this album. So I don't want to get them all excited now and just be a big tease and talk it all up. And so I just kind of, I don't know, I kind of mapped it out in my head and manifested a lot and just tried to like, you know, just do it the right way and try and be as pro as I possibly can be. And also you got to remember, like when you're working with someone of Ed Sheeran's level, there is a big team there and you don't want to piss anyone off. You just want to be really respectful. And you want to be like really easy to work with because that's the key to getting the invitation back, you know?
Totally. Oh, that's so wild. And the music video is absolutely amazing as well. I just feel like it's the perfect like visual to the song.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Like, it's amazing. Like, where did you film it? How did you film it?
Okay, look, so the very first music video that I had nothing to do with is the best one I've ever made. So it was in Centennial Park in Sydney and it was a night shoot. So I wrapped at like 3 a.m. or something and everyone else wrapped at like 7 a.m. It was gnarly, man. It was really, really rough, but so worth it. And all I knew was, all I said was, I think I can see this as being really kind of like the Verve in like that slow walk. I want to randomly, I'm just like, I think I want to wear like a trench coat or something really different, you know? That's all they said. And then the rest was so beautifully made by James Chappell, who was just an absolute genius. And I was just in his hands and his team's hands. And I guess everyone, like from Keith's team to my team, everyone works so well together. And it was just like a really easy thing to do.
To me, it felt like a scene from a movie, like Cinderella or something like that. Like
it had that like at the start, I felt like a real Goonies / Stranger Things vibe. And then it merged into this Bridgerton, like, yeah, like, you know, just real, fairy tale story.
Totally. It's like grandiose almost. I don't know if that's a word, but
it is now.
We'll add that to the Oxford Dictionary. So like good. Also, you've got a documentary coming out.
Yeah, we've got like, I think it's 6 episodes. Another thing that I've kind of like, I just said, hey, look, this album's going to be really good. I can tell, like, on my phone. I just know it's going to be good. Let's document it. And so I just had, I was kind of trying to film the whole thing. There was another thing, Cam, that I was like, one thing that kind of bothered me over time, there was a few comments with Love Monster that I would keep reading. You know how your eyes always go to the negative stuff and not always the good stuff. And it was like, you know, people saying, oh, Amy's only good because of the producers she works with, or Amy's music only gets played because of this reason or that reason. And over time I was like, I just want people to see that I do everything. Like, I write the songs and I'm there from the second they're born to the second they are released. And it's just, it's hard work. And I never want anyone to think that I lean on anybody. You know, it's hard work, and especially if anyone's sort of like an up and comer musician, it's like, don't ever rely on anyone. Like, you know, you can go and work with whatever producer you want, but you need to bring things to the table and you need to own that, and you need to, like, you know, have good stuff. And I don't know, it kind of bothered me. So I was like, if once I do this, I can show people, you know, how hard it actually is, how hard I work, how hard everyone works. So it's just one of those little personal things I wanted to do.
That's cool. And it's awesome that you're able to tell that story. And for most people, the trolls sitting behind a keyboard who are commenting these ridiculous things, like, they genuinely wouldn't understand. So it's kind of like a one finger wave, but in the nicest way possible. So
exactly. And I think also I went and spoke to a couple of young sort of female artists, and they're like, oh, how do I get rid of, I'm always so nervous in the studio. And I was like, and it broke my heart a little bit. Like, yeah, we're just so nervous, and we just like feel like we don't get to speak, and I'm scared to say when I don't like something. And I was like, oh my God, I could see myself. I just remember being in studios before, being petrified and having, you know, dudes there not listening to you and thinking, you just shut up, little girl. I'll make the song, you know. And I just thought, wow, well, this would be a great way to just show, hey, you don't have to be scared. You can just go in there and you can just own that room, you know.
Totally. And that's something that you do, and you've done with this album, which I'm so excited to hear. Is there any up and coming artists that you're listening to at the moment who you're loving that you think everyone should check out?
Yes. Who is there? There's that. I mean, she's pretty massive already on TikTok. Mia Rodriguez.
Oh yes.
There's I guess there's another one I've heard a little bit of, Mercy. Don't mind her.
Mercy's amazing. I love her.
And yeah, there's heaps. I mean, I listen to stacks of music, so yeah, heaps and heaps of artists. So
do you do like playlists where people can listen to like the music that you're listening to, or do you like to keep your playlist private so no one really knows?
Oh yeah, because mine's like super random and embarrassing. You know, like when someone grabs my phone, it can go from like Godsmack to like Alanis to Nora Jones and then Amy Winehouse. You know, it's super weird. So
I love that. I feel like all the best people in life listen to the randomest mixes of music.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's healthy. I've always gone through, I mean, I always loved punk music, and then I had a big hip hop and then R&B phase like everyone. And yeah, I think it's good. I borrow so many melodies from those genres.
Yeah. Mm. Would you ever borrow a melody from High School Musical?
Do you know what's wild? I've never seen it.
What? No. And you come to New Zealand rather than doing an interview, you're going to watch High School Musical.
I know. How crazy is that? Because I know like so many like, you know, artists and stuff that come from that, and actors and everything. And but I haven't seen it. I know all the songs. I hear everyone singing the songs. Like, I'm a fake. I'm a big fake.
Nah, you're not a fake. You're absolutely awesome. Honestly, so excited for Cry Forever. Thank you so much for your time. And when the world allows us, we cannot wait to have you back in New Zealand sometime in the not too distant future, hopefully.
Thank you so much, Cam. I miss your face.
I miss your face.
You got your hair tied back. I wanted to see it all like...
Oh, like the...
lush. Yeah. But show me when I come over.
Yeah, for sure. I'll make sure it's real big. I'll like tease it or something.
Yes.
Good. So good to chat. Have the best afternoon, and fingers crossed we'll see you soon.
Thanks, babe. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.